Most men don't realize when it's happening. At first it feels normal. You text first, you make all the plans, you try harder and harder to get her attention. But slowly, something changes. She replies slower. She cancels plans. She treats you like you're always available. And before you know it, you're not the man she respects. You're the man she uses for attention. Today we're going to talk about 5 ways to handle women who treat you like a simp. And if you understand these 5 things, you will never allow anyone to disrespect your time, energy, or attention again. Before we begin, I set the standard. Number 1, stop giving free attention. Attention is one of the most powerful things you can give someone. Most men never realize how much power they hand over every single day without thinking, because they wake up, grab their phone, and the first thing they do is check if she replied, if she viewed their story, if she liked their photo, and before the day even begins, their mindset is already centered around her presence, her reactions, her approval. And this is exactly where the imbalance begins, because the moment your time revolves around a woman who has not earned your loyalty, she begins to see something dangerous about you. Not dangerous in a strong way, but dangerous in a weak way. Dangerous because she knows you will always be there, always waiting, always ready to give her attention without asking for anything in return. And once she senses that certainty, she slowly begins to lose respect for you, even if she never says it out loud. Because respect is built on scarcity and value, while attention that is given endlessly becomes background noise. And this is where many men trap themselves in a painful cycle, because they believe they are showing interest while she interprets the same behavior as desperation. So they text first every morning. They respond instantly every time she sends a message hours later. They compliment every picture she posts. They laugh at everything she says. They try to be entertaining, charming, supportive, available, hoping that if they give enough attention, she will eventually recognize their value and reward them with affection. But instead, something else happens, because the more attention you give freely, the more she begins to see you as predictable. And once you become predictable, you become safe. And once you become safe, you become unexciting. And when you become unexciting, she begins to place you in the category reserved for men. She knows she can control the category of men who orbit around her life while she explores other options, because she understands that your validation is guaranteed. And guaranteed attention is the lowest form of value in human interaction. And you see this dynamic playing out in countless lives, where a man checks his phone 10 times in 10 minutes, waiting for a reply, while she casually responds hours later because she is busy living her life, talking to other people, going out with friends, enjoying the freedom that comes from knowing someone is emotionally invested in her, while she has invested almost nothing in return. And the painful truth many men avoid admitting is that they willingly accept this position because they fear losing her attention entirely, so they continue sending messages, continue trying harder, continue offering their time, hoping the next interaction will be different, hoping she will suddenly recognize how loyal they are and decide that they deserve commitment. But what actually happens is the opposite, because the more you chase her validation, the more she becomes accustomed to your presence as something that requires no effort from her side. And this is where Stoic discipline changes everything, because instead of reacting to every notification like your identity depends on it, you step back and observe your own behavior with ruthless honesty. You notice how often you interrupt your day just to respond to her. You notice how quickly you drop what you're doing to answer her message. You notice how your mind drifts toward her even when she has done nothing to earn that level of mental space in your life. And once you recognize this pattern, you begin to correct it through action rather than emotion, because Stoic thinking teaches that control begins with mastery over your reactions. So instead of replying instantly, you take your time, because your life is full of responsibilities, ambitions, discipline, and growth. You do not rush to your phone like a servant responding to a command. You respond when it fits into your day because your time belongs to you first. And slowly something shifts because she begins to notice that your attention is no longer unlimited. She notices that you are not reacting the way other men react. She notices that you are not constantly chasing her approval. And this creates curiosity in her mind because human nature values what is not easily controlled. And as you continue focusing on your own path, your attention becomes selective rather than constant. You invest it in work that improves your future, in physical discipline that strengthens your body, in friendships that build real loyalty, in activities that sharpen your mind. And the more you build a life that does not revolve around her, the more powerful your presence becomes, because now your attention is not something she automatically receives whenever she wants it. It is something she must earn through genuine interest and consistent effort. And if she does not show that effort, you calmly withdraw your attention without drama or anger, because Stoic strength does not beg and does not argue. It simply redirects energy toward things that deserve it. And in that moment, you stop living like a man waiting to be chosen and start living like a man who chooses how his time is spent. And that shift alone can transform your entire life, because once you truly understand the value of your attention, you will never again hand it out freely to someone who treats it like it costs nothing. And if you are beginning to realize just how powerful disciplined control over your attention can be, then you need to know about the Stoic Relationship Blueprint, an ebook for men filled with timeless Stoic principles designed to help you take back control of your mindset, your relationships, and your direction in life. And it is now also available in audiobook format, so you can listen to this life-changing knowledge while walking, training, commuting, or simply clearing your mind after a long day. If you have ever asked yourself why some men command respect effortlessly, why others constantly give more than they receive, and how you can permanently step out of that exhausting cycle and live with clarity, discipline, and unshakable self-respect, then this blueprint answers those questions with practical wisdom you can apply immediately. It is linked in the comments, and once you get it, the knowledge is yours for life, something you can return to again and again whenever you need strength, guidance, and the reminder that your attention, your time, and your life are far too valuable to waste on anyone who has not earned them. Number 2, never chase someone who pulls away. One of the biggest mistakes men make is chasing distance. The moment she becomes distant, many men immediately assume something is wrong with them, so their mind begins racing through every possible explanation. They replay the last conversation again and again, searching for the moment they might have said something incorrect. They analyze every message, every pause, every change in tone, and before long, their thoughts spiral into a single desperate question, which is, how do I fix this before I lose her attention completely? And that mindset pushes them into action that only makes the situation worse, because instead of maintaining dignity, they begin to chase harder. They send longer messages. They ask if everything is okay. They try to reassure her. They attempt to repair a problem that she has not even acknowledged. And while they believe they are showing care, what she actually observes is a man whose emotional stability depends on her behavior. And once a woman sees that she holds this level of influence over you, the entire dynamic shifts, because you have unknowingly handed her control over your state of mind. And this is exactly why Stoic discipline is so powerful in situations like this, because it teaches a principle that many people resist accepting, which is that you cannot control the actions of others, but you always control your own response. And when she pulls away, the Stoic approach is not panic, not pleading, not trying to convince her to stay engaged. The Stoic approach is calm observation and measured restraint, because when someone chooses distance, they are communicating something through their behavior. Whether they admit it or not, they are showing you the level of priority you currently hold in their life. And your responsibility is not to fight for attention that is being withdrawn, but to interpret that signal and adjust your actions accordingly, because chasing someone who is stepping away only teaches them that your standards are flexible and that you will pursue them regardless of how little effort they contribute. And that lesson destroys attraction faster than almost anything else, because attraction thrives on respect, while desperation quietly erodes it. So when she takes a step back, the strongest move you can make is to give her exactly what she is demonstrating she wants, which is space, not as a tactic, but as a reflection of your own self-control. Because a disciplined man does not chase uncertainty, he allows it to reveal itself fully. And while many men struggle with this silence at first because their mind is conditioned to constantly seek reassurance, the practice of restraint slowly strengthens their mental clarity. They begin to see the situation more objectively rather than emotionally. They notice patterns in her behavior that were previously hidden behind their desire to keep her interested. They realize how often they ignored signs of disinterest because they were too focused on maintaining the connection. And that realization can be uncomfortable, but it is also liberating, because once you stop chasing someone who is pulling away, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of trying to prove your worth to someone who has not chosen to value it. And this shift forces her into a different position as well, because when the pursuit stops, she no longer receives the constant validation she expected. She no longer has the reassurance that you will continue chasing regardless of her effort, and that uncertainty changes the dynamic completely, because people begin to reconsider their decisions when the person they assumed would always be there suddenly becomes independent of their approval. And at this point, she may test the waters by sending a casual message or reacting to something you post. But the Stoic response remains the same, which is calm, controlled, and measured engagement that reflects self-respect rather than desperation. You do not rush to respond as if your entire day depended on her message. You respond when it suits your schedule, because your life continues moving forward regardless of whether she participates in it or not. And if she chooses not to invest genuine effort, you accept that reality without resentment and continue building a life that does not rely on her presence, because Stoic strength teaches that your purpose, discipline, and personal growth must always remain stronger than your attachment to any individual person. And once you internalize that principle, you stop chasing distance and start respecting yourself enough to walk your own path. And ironically, it is often at this point that people who once took your attention for granted begin to reconsider their assumptions about you, because the man who refuses to chase is no longer predictable. He becomes someone whose time and attention carry weight, and whether she returns or not becomes irrelevant, because the true transformation has already taken place within you. The transformation from someone who reacts to every shift in her behavior into someone who remains steady, focused, and disciplined, regardless of what she chooses to do. Number 3, set clear boundaries. Many men complain about being treated like a simp, but very few are willing to admit the uncomfortable truth that sits underneath that complaint, because the real reason it keeps happening is not simply that she behaves poorly, but that you repeatedly tolerate behavior that slowly erodes your dignity. And every time you allow something that goes against your standards, you silently teach her exactly how little respect is required to remain in your life. And this pattern begins in small ways that appear harmless in the beginning, but grow heavier with time, such as when she cancels plans last minute, and you immediately say it is fine, even though you rearranged your entire evening for her, or when she takes hours or days to respond, while you remain available every second she decides to appear again, or when she only messages you when she needs validation, attention, entertainment, or emotional support, while offering nothing of real substance in return. And the difficult reality is that she continues doing this not because she is confused about your value, but because your behavior tells her she can get away with it without consequences. And people in general always follow the path of least resistance when interacting with others. So, when a woman realizes that you will accept disrespect, inconsistency, and emotional games while still remaining loyal to her presence, she does not suddenly become more considerate. Instead, she begins to see you as someone whose standards are negotiable and whose attention can be used whenever it suits her convenience. And the tragic part is that many men remain trapped in this position because they are afraid that if they speak up or change their behavior, she will disappear completely. So they remain silent while internally resenting the situation, hoping that patience will eventually make her appreciate them. But patience without standards is simply quiet surrender. And this is where Stoic discipline becomes essential, because it forces you to examine your life through actions rather than wishful thinking. And once you begin observing your own behavior honestly, you start noticing how often you ignore your instincts just to maintain her presence. How often you laugh off disrespect because confronting it might create tension. How often you compromise your own time and priorities because you want to avoid losing access to her attention. And when you recognize this pattern, you also begin to understand that boundaries are not loud speeches or emotional confrontations, but calm decisions expressed through consistent behavior. Because a boundary is simply the line where your self-respect becomes more important than keeping someone comfortable. And when you begin implementing this principle, your actions start changing in subtle but powerful ways. Because when she cancels plans repeatedly, you stop rescheduling endlessly and instead redirect your time towards something meaningful. When she only appears when she is bored, you no longer rush to entertain her and instead respond when it genuinely fits into your day. When she speaks to you with dismissive tone, you calmly disengage rather than trying to win her approval. And these responses are not driven by anger, but by clarity, because you understand that people only respect standards that are consistently upheld. And when she notices that your attention is no longer guaranteed, she faces a decision she did not expect to face, which is whether she values your presence enough to meet those standards, or whether she prefers easier attention elsewhere. And if she chooses the second option, you accept that outcome with composure, because your goal is not to control her behavior, but to protect your own dignity. And this is the part many men struggle with at first, because letting someone walk away exposes the uncomfortable reality that they may have invested time in someone who never intended to treat them seriously. But once you accept that possibility, you also gain something far more powerful, which is the freedom to stop negotiating your worth. And from that point forward, you begin operating from a place of internal stability, where your sense of value is not determined by her approval, but by the standards you enforce in your own life. And this transformation changes how people interact with you across every environment, because individuals quickly sense when someone refuses to tolerate disrespect. And when a woman realizes that your attention cannot be manipulated through emotional games, she either adapts to that reality or removes herself from your life entirely, and both outcomes serve you because they eliminate the exhausting cycle of uncertainty and place you back in control of your time, your focus, and your direction. And once you truly understand this principle, you stop begging for better treatment and start living in a way that naturally attracts people who recognize the strength behind quiet boundaries and disciplined self-respect. Number 4. Focus on your own life. The biggest reason men get treated like simps is simple. Their entire existence gradually begins orbiting around one woman without them realizing how deeply that shift has taken root in their daily routine. Because at first it appears harmless when you start checking your phone a little more often to see if she replied, or when you adjust your schedule slightly so you can be available whenever she decides to talk, or when your thoughts begin drifting toward what she might be doing instead of what you should be doing. But over time, these small adjustments accumulate until your priorities quietly rearrange themselves around her presence. And once that happens, your sense of direction becomes fragile, because your emotional state begins depending on signals you cannot control. And this is where many men lose momentum in their own lives, because they invest enormous mental energy trying to interpret her behavior instead of investing that same energy into building something meaningful for themselves. And the uncomfortable truth is that she immediately senses when a man's life revolves around her attention, because his actions reveal it without him saying a word. She notices that he replies instantly regardless of the time of day. She notices that he is always available to talk, always ready to meet, always adjusting his schedule to match hers. And what begins as interest slowly transforms into dependency. And once dependency appears, respect begins fading because attraction thrives on strength, while dependency signals that you have placed her at the center of your identity. And this is where Stoic discipline demands a shift in perspective, because instead of chasing her presence, you begin directing your attention toward the areas of life that actually shape your future. And this shift does not happen through motivational speeches or sudden bursts of enthusiasm, but through deliberate daily action, because you wake up and your first priority is not checking if she messaged you, but confronting the responsibilities that build your character. You train your body even when comfort suggests otherwise. You commit to work that advances your financial stability. You develop skills that expand your opportunities. You strengthen friendships that are built on loyalty rather than convenience. And as these disciplines accumulate, something remarkable begins happening inside your mind, because your confidence gradually detaches from her approval and attaches itself to the progress you create with your own hands. And once that transformation begins, your interactions with women change naturally, because you are no longer approaching them as the center of your emotional stability, but as individuals who may or may not complement the life you are already constructing. And this shift immediately alters the energy of your presence, because you are not seeking validation, but evaluating compatibility. And when a woman senses that your world continues moving forward, regardless of whether she participates in it, she begins to see you differently, because you are no longer the man waiting for her attention, but the man whose time is divided between purpose, discipline, and growth. And ironically, this is when curiosity often begins growing on her side, because people instinctively gravitate toward those who possess direction and independence. But the deeper benefit of focusing on your own life has nothing to do with her reaction at all, because the real transformation occurs within you, as your identity stops revolving around temporary approval and starts grounding itself in achievements that cannot be taken away by someone losing interest. And this inner stability becomes the foundation for every future relationship you experience, because you no longer approach connections from a place of need, but from a place of abundance, where you are willing to share your time with someone who respects it, but equally willing to continue your journey alone if that respect is absent. And once you adopt this mindset, the cycle that once trapped you begins dissolving completely, because you are no longer chasing someone who treats you like an option. You are building a life so structured and purposeful that anyone who wishes to remain part of it must contribute value rather than drain your attention. And this is where true freedom emerges, because your happiness stops depending on whether she chooses to stay or leave, and starts depending on the discipline you apply to your own path every single day. Number 5, be ready to walk away. This is the most important lesson of all. Most men hear those words and immediately think about loss. They imagine that walking away means giving up the possibility of keeping her in their life. They imagine silence, distance, and the empty space left behind when someone who once occupied their thoughts suddenly disappears. But the reality is far deeper and far more empowering than that, because the ability to walk away calmly from someone who treats you like an option is not about losing something valuable. It is about finally understanding your own worth and refusing to negotiate it any longer. And many men remain trapped in exhausting situations precisely because they believe their only two options are to tolerate poor treatment or to risk being alone. So they continue investing their time, attention, and emotional energy into someone who repeatedly shows them through her actions that she does not respect the value of what she is receiving. And this dynamic often begins in subtle ways that slowly grow more obvious as time passes. Because she starts by responding inconsistently. She cancels plans without real concern for your schedule. She keeps you around for attention while entertaining other possibilities. She speaks to you when she is bored and disappears when something more interesting captures her attention. And instead of confronting this pattern, you rationalize it in your mind, telling yourself she is just busy, just distracted, just uncertain, because acknowledging the truth would force you to make a decision you have been avoiding. And that decision is whether you will continue accepting treatment that diminishes your self-respect, or whether you will stand firmly on the standards that define the kind of life you intend to build. And the Stoic mindset approaches this situation with clarity rather than emotional panic, because it recognizes that you cannot force someone to value you, but you always retain the authority to decide what behavior you allow in your life. And once you truly absorb that principle, something begins shifting inside your mind, because you stop approaching relationships from a position of fear and start approaching them from a position of quiet strength, where you understand that your time, attention, and presence are limited resources that must be invested wisely rather than handed out to anyone who demands them. And when you begin thinking this way, the entire dynamic between you and her changes, because she no longer senses a man who will remain available no matter how she behaves. Instead, she encounters a man whose attention must be respected if she wishes to remain part of his life. And the moment she realizes that you are fully prepared to remove yourself from a situation that disrespects you, the balance of power shifts dramatically, because people often test boundaries to see how far they can push them. And when those boundaries never move, they quickly learn that manipulation, emotional games, and inconsistent behavior will not succeed. And this is where many men experience a powerful internal awakening, because they finally understand that their value does not increase by begging for someone's approval, but by living according to standards that cannot be compromised. And walking away becomes an act of discipline rather than desperation, because you are not leaving to provoke a reaction from her, but to preserve your own dignity and mental clarity. And while some women may attempt to regain control once they realize your attention is no longer guaranteed, perhaps by sending casual messages, liking old pictures, or suddenly showing interest after a long period of indifference, the disciplined response remains consistent because you evaluate actions rather than promises. You observe patterns rather than temporary gestures, and you refuse to return to a situation that has already demonstrated its inability to respect your standards. And this level of composure creates a reputation that extends beyond romantic relationships into every interaction you have with people, because individuals begin recognizing that you are someone who values integrity over convenience, someone who does not cling to anyone out of fear of being alone, someone who understands that peace of mind is far more valuable than temporary attention. And once you internalize this principle, your entire life begins transforming in ways that extend far beyond the dating world, because the same mindset that allows you to walk away from disrespect also strengthens your discipline in business, friendships, and personal growth. And you begin realizing that the greatest freedom any person can achieve is the freedom from needing approval from those who have not earned your respect. And from that point forward, you no longer chase anyone. You no longer attempt to convince someone to treat you well. You simply move forward with the quiet confidence of a man who knows exactly what he brings to the table and refuses to sit anywhere he is not valued. And this realization turns what once seemed like loss into the most powerful advantage you could ever gain. Because the moment you become fully willing to walk away from anyone who does not respect your presence is the moment you finally take complete control of your own life. Most men spend years chasing approval, losing their self-respect piece by piece, because society quietly trains them to stay distracted, obedient, and unaware of the truth about discipline, boundaries, and emotional control. But the moment you understand the Stoic principles inside the Stoic relationship blueprint, everything changes. And that is exactly why this kind of knowledge is rarely pushed into the spotlight. If you are ready to take back control of your life, grab the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men, filled with timeless Stoic principles that can transform the way you think and act immediately. Now also available in audiobook form, so you can absorb this life-changing wisdom while walking, training, or clearing your mind. And it is linked in the comments, waiting for those who are ready to step out of the cycle most men never escape. If you are serious about becoming a man who is no longer controlled by attention or validation, comment, "I reclaim my value," like the video, and subscribe so more men can find this truth before they waste years of their lives learning it the hard way.